and as well as the color. So when we painted the restaurant, we wanted the hues of the saffron. So there's orange hues, yellow, and red. So it's a warm and inviting color. As well as we wanted to send a message that this cuisine is really unique. Saffron itself is really unique. And
it takes a lot of guts to come up with a name like Saffron. I'm here, I'm there, I'm not shying away of being a Middle Eastern restaurant.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to use a very exotic, not exotic, but very original native spices.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Which brought you to the next level, which coming up with your
the spice line.
This is what a concept.
It truly came from the need for it in the market. People would come up to us and they would say, I've had the most amazing meal in my life in this restaurant. How do we recreate it? And I kept saying to them, it's the spices, it's the spices. And I kept sending them all over the place to try to get the spices. But I realized that no one is doing the spices in the way that I'm doing them at the restaurant, which is freshly ground spices. We're doing them in small batches, hand grinded, and using the highest quality ingredient. So we decided that this is really what people are looking for. And within a month's notice, me and my brother put our heads together and we did the line.
The line, when you make a spice line, that's not as easy as it sounds. What do you start?
It's certainly, well,
people go to Cisco and get it over with.
Right, no, absolutely not. That's not what we did.
You don't deal with Cisco.
We don't deal with that. We located all sorts of suppliers that can get us these unique spices that you can't find anywhere else. Some of our spice blends have upwards of 26 different spices in them. When you're going to buy that off the shelf, you're not going to find those spices.
It's made for you. Take it or leave it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way that I grind it at the restaurant, I use it for my food at the restaurant. So it's not a different recipe.
It's
what we do.
Smell of the restaurant.
Absolutely. No, it's very fragrant. And I mean, you can take a look at this. For example, this one is the Ras Al Hanout. It's a North African spice blend.
Ras Al Hanout.
Yep, and it has saffron, it has wild ginger.
So you come up with this name, or this is actually name?
It's an actual name.
So there is a basis for it.
There is a basis for it, absolutely.
And these build on that.
And we build on to that. It's different flavor combinations that we wanted to showcase. And we started out with 4 different spices, and hopefully down the road we can grow into something a little bit bigger. But like I said, all the spices, we're getting really fresh ingredients. So this is the difference. This was ground 2-3 days ago. So when you're buying something off the shelf at a grocery store, it's been probably ground for 6-7 months.
God knows.
God knows.
There's no expiration date. There's
no expiration date. When you're buying these spices, you're getting them freshly made, because I truly want to educate people about the cuisine of the Middle East. And that's something that I realized, it took me a little bit of a while to realize, why are people really excited about this cuisine? And it was because of the use of the spices and the way that we paid attention to it. And every spice is extremely unique on the palate. So, for example, the Ras Al Hanout, if you want to taste it, just put a little bit on your hand and just taste it. I'm
starting a new trend now. I don't smoke, but I want to still look cool.
Yeah, you look definitely cool with the cinnamon stick, yes. So this one, it hits your entire mouth.
Oh my God.
You smell it, yeah. There's floral, there's a little bit of kind of earthy aromas, a little bit of sour notes, spicy, sweet, all in one. And so imagine that you can take anything as simple as, a chicken breast and just sprinkle it on and cook it, and you have that flavor that you're used to.
But putting this combination together, you need to know what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Otherwise,
it's not going to taste good.
No.
Some of these recipes, Ahmed, we've developed over the past 3 years, and I'm still kind of working on some other recipes that I want to, showcase in the future. But it's a lot of work to bring cuisine that is new to the Middle East to this city.
And Twin Cities were very boring 10, 15 years ago.
And we still are. We still are.
No, things are changing because of the immigrants, what have you. But how do you make sure you have a base for those foodies who they're really genuine about going out and having an experience, not just going out filling up like eating and get it over with.
Yeah.
So there is very certain people who come to your place.
Well, we try to make it as accessible as possible. We keep saying that we're doing Middle Eastern food with a Midwestern sensibility. because I'm in the Midwest. I'm American,
Yeah.
born in the Middle East, lived here half of my life. So there is definitely a little bit of that, you know. I'm
Interesting.
used to eating this cuisine in this city, and so therefore I have to, you know, kind of balance the two together. And that's what we do really well. So we have things on the menu that are for the meat and potato eaters.
Yeah.
And then we have things that are more adventurous, like the lamb brains.
What makes Middle Eastern food so unique now? Now I think people moving now from south whatever West diet, and everybody's coming out of a diet program. But
Yeah.
I think naturally Middle Eastern food is almost ready to go. You don't even have to
it's very
buy
healthy
a book
food.
or go to
No.
5 steps or whatever.
No, there's no 5 steps to
It's
Middle
just one
Eastern cooking.
How many steps in Saffron?
Well, yeah.
About 3.
Yeah, it's very easy, very
Yeah.
simple. The cuisine itself, generally, it's low in fat, high in fruits and vegetables, legumes and things like that. So it's naturally healthy, and it's just recently becoming a little bit more popular in America, I should say, in general.
Well, it's popular enough to get you on a cooking show.
Yeah.
And amazing. I know I had mixed feeling about having some thoughtful, insightful chef like you, with all this philosophy and things your mind and finding. And then you go on a cooking show. This cooking show is like, you know, it's made for entertainment and linear and time and measurement. Does it suit your kind of your way of cooking, or it was just something, you know, I'm sure it's a national scene, you know.
Well, in essence, every day for us, we're doing what we do at the show.
Yeah.
We're against the clock. We're trying to make food. We're trying to get people happy. So on my everyday, when I wake up in the morning, the first thing that I do when I get to the restaurant is I start cooking. And I'm always running behind the clock to try to get everything done for the service. So when people come into the restaurant, they can eat the food and there's no waiting there.
What's the genesis of that show, and how did they explain it to you?
So basically, the premise is that you have 2 chefs, 1 hour, you have 1 secret ingredient. So it's me, the challenger, against an Iron Chef, which these guys have been cooking, been doing this thing for 20, 30, 40 years, you know. And they're very established chefs. So what we have to do is we have to come up with 5 dishes, different courses that highlight 1 ingredient, and that has to be kind of the star of the show. And it could be something as simple as a date or a piece of cheese.
Everybody gets the same ingredient?
No, everyone that comes in through the show will get a different ingredient, but the 2 chefs will get...
At the end?
Yeah, at the end, me and Iron Chef Morimoto had one secret ingredient, which was mackerel. It was a fish, and it's a Japanese fish. So he had the upper hand.
His field here.
Yeah, certainly were. But you know what? We wanted to represent, first of all, Minnesota, because I was the first Minnesota chef to ever go on this show. One of the first and youngest Middle Eastern chefs to ever be close to coming on the show. And certainly we wanted to represent the cuisine at Saffron Restaurant. We wanted to showcase the food that we do and what got us there. So I think all in all, it was definitely a success for us.
You know that, American women now, they watch more cooking show than actually cooking. So they've been liberated from the kitchen to the couch.
Yeah, that's great. But leave the cooking for guys like me, right? Yeah, it's no problem. I don't have no problem with that.
But how was the experience? How did it,
In all honesty, it was an amazing experience. I've been a fan of the show ever since I was a little kid. Oh. So there I am, 13 years old, moved to this country. I'm watching Iron Chef Morimoto on TV. He's competing against all these guys, these world-class chefs, and I'm watching what he's doing, and I'm inspired by what he does. And years later, I'm standing right next to him, cooking. So it's just a real experience.
Does he win all the time?
He's pretty good. Yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah, he's pretty good.
What's about him? What's so special about him that he's an Iron Chef?
He's an Iron Chef. He is an Iron Chef. He's a guy that's been doing it for a really long time. His cuisine is
fast, smart.
Yeah.
See it with,
And his cuisine